Right. So, guys, rewind to when me and Dan went to get a roast dinner.
What?
And what?
What are you about to say?
You'll see where this is going. Are you recording? Yeah.
I am. What are you about to
Okay.
say?
So rewind to when we had the roast dinner. So you know that I read the half roasted chicken, and I got very confused on what this meant. So I thought in my mind, I thought it was not overly cooked chicken, so it was still nice and juicy, but no, it was half of
Oh
a chicken. Okay. I go shopping around Tesco's and we're
no.
trying to find stuff to buy for a roast dinner. And for some reason, Tesco's, I couldn't find Yorkshire puddings anywhere. We couldn't find, like, because obviously Lacey's vegetarian, so we are trying to find like a vegetarian roast sort of thing. And we couldn't find anything, so there was just absolutely nothing for a roast dinner. So we thought, okay, maybe let's just go for pies. So Lacey picks up a pie and I pick up a pie for two. So in my mind, when I read pie for two, I legit thought I was expecting to have two pies in this container.
Oh my god, Brandon.
And lo and behold, I get this pie, which is the size of a Nintendo Switch, come out of this box. And I'm just like, oh, fucking hell, that's a massive steak and ale pie. So end up having this like massive fucking pie, thinking that when it said pie for two, I thought it meant two individual pies that you could just put on each people's plates. But no, I completely misread it yet again.
Yeah. And anyway, pi isn't 2, pi is 3.14.
Yeah. So I just thought you'd appreciate this, Dan, that I misread the packaging on something else, thinking it was going to be something else, and I end up with a massive pie. So
I don't know what to say. Just, I'm kind of, I don't even know. I don't know.
Eyes on the pie, boy. Eyes on the pie.
Yeah.
Do I have a problem like reading food? I don't know, because it's like the second time it's happened, and it's always been involving roast dinners.
Next time we go out for a lunch, right, I'm going to hand you a menu and break down every single item on there with you to see how you interpret it and how I interpret it.
Welcome to the life of pie with Brandon, where we just can't read anything. But yeah, so when I was thinking of like, because this literally only happened like just like 3 days ago, I just thought I've got to tell Dan this. Like, surely he can feel for me of the mistake I've made.
But I've got a great episode title for this. Because, spoilers, we're going to be talking about Nintendo Direct, but with this as well, it's got to be Nintendo Pie-rect.
Right.
Make it happen. It's on the episode now.
I'm going to write it down now.
The Pie-rect, yes.
Welcome to Victory Achieved Podcast, a video game podcast, a media podcast. We talk about everything on this podcast. I am Brandon, and I'm with my favorite boys, Dan Boy and Chris Boy.
Hi.
I prefer to be referred to as Chris Man, since I'm older.
I just literally just punched my table as you said, man. I felt very manly by doing that. Anyway, I thought, we want to get directly into the steak and ale of this podcast, don't we, after my pie disaster. And what's the most direct thing which has happened recently, Chris? That would be Nintendo Direct, wouldn't it?
Well, you didn't give me a chance to answer, so yes. Yes, Nintendo Direct. So I have a nice little image here, which I saved to my phone, which basically breaks down like everything that they announced. So, and there's quite a lot, so I'm not going to say all of them, but in no particular order, we've just had a Metroid Prime Remastered Shadow dropped, had a new trailer for Zelda Tears of the Kingdoms, Pikmin 4, Splatoon 3 DLC, a new Kirby game, Advance Wars 1 and 2, you got Minecraft Legends, a port or sort of remaster of Ghost Trick, Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass, which I've got, surprisingly. Dead Cells add-on, which incorporates Castlevania, Sea of Stars, which looks like a very good-looking RPG. The Metal Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which I knew was coming out, but that's confirmed to Switch as well. Tales of Symphonia remake. A Tron game for like the one person out there that likes Tron in this day and age. Octopath Traveler 2, Iridian Odyssey sort of remaster as well. Wheel of Katamari, Fashion Dreamer, Omega Strikers, Have a Nice Death, and others.
Like, they had some, what else did they have? They had some, none of us play, but had like some DLC for like Xenoblades and but I guess the most important stuff was they added Game Boy and Game Boy Advance to Nintendo Switch Online.
They did. And I know Brandon's had Switch Online for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've mainly been using it for the Nintendo 64 stuff, and I got the Switch Online because at the time, especially when it was COVID, obviously I wanted to be able to play with my girlfriend. So I thought, okay, if I get the Switch Online, we might be able to play Animal Crossing together. So since then, I've just kept the subscription going. But looking at the lineup they've got for the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance, I'm actually happy because I've already spoke about it before on the podcast. Wario Land 3, I absolutely adored that game, but it's just going to be really nice to be able to play like some of the old Legend of Zelda games, which I've never had access to before.
Because now you can play the original version and the DX version of Link's Awakening, which is
that's what was quite nice.
I've got that on my I've got the DX version on my 3DS, and it's fantastic. It's my mate who lives in Belgium. It's his favourite game of all time.
I'm just having a look at which ones are coming up. So we've got the WarioWare game, never played that. Fire Emblem also coming to the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, that's the one I'm very looking forward to, of course.
Is that the absolute original Fire Emblem?
No, because I've got the original on my Switch. No, that's the first Western Fire Emblem.
Oh.
That, I can't remember which number, because there's a ton of Japanese-only ones, and that was the first Fire Emblem that came to the West. So, if you remember way back when you played Super Smash Bros. Melee,
oh yeah,
and on the game, when you get Roy, on his trophy, it says Future Release. That is the game that's coming to the GBA Online. That's the first game with Roy. Well, that's the game with Roy, not the first game. Actually, no, yes, it is the first game with Roy because of Engage, yes. But that has Lynn and Roy, who are both in the latest Fire Emblem. Yeah.
Well, interestingly for me is I've actually now got Nintendo Switch Online because I got Twitch payout and I thought, you know what, Nintendo just had a direct. They just mentioned like they've put in like more games to their online service. So I thought, you know what, out of curiosity, I'll check it out because for years I've been skeptical on the whole thing because I thought when I first had the Nintendo Switch that had online capability and then they took it away as a paid service and that really annoyed me. So I just didn't give it time of day. But now they're sort of doing kind of like a sort of pseudo Game Pass like PlayStation Plus thing where they've got like the classic games you can play. I thought, oh, I'll have a look, and it's only 35 quid for a year, and since they've added a ton of titles, for me, most noticeably the N64 ones, I was more excited by, purely because N64 is notoriously difficult to emulate, and even with the original hardware, the picture quality doesn't look great when I put it on like my OBS like recording software, because it's in like very low resolution, as you'd expect, and it's like blown up to HD, but because it's on the Switch, it's got all your bells and whistles, it's got your save states, it's all been upscaled, it's got borders around it, so it looks way more presentable. And since it's only for, say, 35 quid with the expansion, I thought, you know what, fuck it, my payout's just paid for that. And I want to put it towards the channel. I figure everybody wins here because I can stream more Nintendo stuff easily. So, yeah, I took a chance and I've played some old school N64 games on there, which I've never played before. Most noticeably, Sin and Punishment, which I know is like very highly regarded as one of the best N64 games, but I never played. And I really like that. Played Star Fox 64, which is a game I never owned, but used to play a lot around my cousins. And I found out that I thought I really liked that game. And I do, but Christ, I suck at it. But thank goodness it had save states, so I've now beaten Star Fox 64. I did so well, I got it to like the final mission and I had to restart it about 20, 30 times because I just kept fucking up. There is one thing though I don't like. It's none of the game's fault though. None of the games, like, it gives you like instructions for like what button does what from like your Switch controller to the Nintendo, like which button is which. But for none of the games, it doesn't actually tell you the controls or anything. And I was playing Sin and Punishment, and I kept dying against like I think it was like the third boss, and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing wrong. But it turns out there's like more moves in the game that the game doesn't tell you. We don't have a manual, and there's no controls for the thing. So thank you, Game Facts thing from like 2004. I'm still reading you because you tell me what the moves are. It's like, there was a whole melee attack I didn't know about.
So did you pick this up between the last recording of the episode and now?
Yeah, it's actually like last week at the time of recording this. So...
Did you give GoldenEye a go?
No, but only because I've finished it on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, have you played it to get an idea of how janky it feels?
No, I haven't, but I know people have like gone out the way to like make videos to like say how to get the controls working, like put it on a certain setting and then remap your controls from there.
Do you know when the next round of Nintendo 64 games will come out? Because the main one I'm now looking forward to is going to be Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2.
I don't. I did sort of Google, like, or at least try to Google when games are coming out, but I didn't really get much in the way of results because it just like spews back the same things. Like it just says, "Oh, these are the games available." It's like, yeah, I know that, but I want the future ones. It's like, well, because it's like Nintendo Directs is coming out. That's like the only sort of feedback you get. It's like, yeah, I know all that, but what I'm asking is what games are fucking coming out. It's like, oh, Tears of the Kingdom is. I know Tears of the Kingdom is coming out. Please tell me what games are coming. Yeah.
So what games would you like to see come to the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and the 64?
Can I just, before we, I know you just asked this question, but before we go into this question, I do, regarding the games that are actually on especially the Game Boy Advance, have either of you played Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga?
Nope.
Yep, many times.
What do you...
And the sequels.
Yeah, well, Brandon, if you've not played it, I would completely recommend it. It's great.
I'll say I've literally just looked at a screenshot of it, and it looks fun as fuck.
Oh, it's
great.
It's in exactly what Chris just said.
It's a very intuitive, like turn-based battle system that relies on like your inputs. You like have to pay attention during like the enemy's attacks because you can like counter by like dodging and jumping.
Yeah, not like classic Final Fantasy where you just press attack. There you go. It's like you get like the hammer, and you do more. You can miss that when you use the hammer. You can miss if you're not careful, and then if you hit it right, you do extra damage and stuff like that. It's great.
Yeah, to get the timing down. Yeah, highly recommend those games.
But in regards to your question, Brandon, so I know they're planning to add what is it? They're adding Metroid Fusion. So there you go. There's a fantastic Metroid game. If they're adding Fusion, they should be adding Zero Mission because that's a incredible game as well. Well, I know adding the first Fire Emblem on GBA, but they should add Sacred Stones because that's a incredible Fire Emblem game. And I don't know, hopefully Pokemon games, but I'm skeptical about that.
Yeah, I'd be a bit skeptical for that.
Yeah, because you got to get the rights from like Game Freak and like the Pokemon Company as well, and stuff like that. Games I'd like to see. There is a Resident Evil Gaiden. On the Game Boy, which is a game I really like, but nobody else seems to. It's so radically different. Although I did start playing Alone in the Dark, New Nightmare, and I'm kind of enjoying that. I've not played it for very long, but I was like, I'm digging this. It really is like a scaled down version of like the PS1 game, which is like a sort of, it's kind of like the original Resident Evil, like fixed camera angles moving around. But when it comes to the combat in Alone in the Dark, it completely transitions to like a different sort of screen, and it sort of goes like sort of top down sort of action combat scenario. So you don't fight things like on the world map as you would expect, like you do in the main game. It's like a completely different battle screen, which makes sense for the GBA. But I was playing it, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of digging this. You do have to use your imagination a bit though, because you can kind of picture what the rooms are meant to be, but they're severely crunched down for like the Game Boy screen. So you got to like sort of squint at what you're looking at, thinking, I think that's a door. There's a lot of that going on. Like you're staring at, is that background or is that an entrance? I've got no idea. That seems fun. One little nitpick is how they laid the games out. Like, and by this I mean like when you like click on each console, because each one's like done like an app. So it's like the N64 app, the Game Boy app, and so on. And when you pick on each one, it's got like a Netflix-like menu where you select your games. But what I don't like is how it's essentially got the same games repeated. Like you said, like Link's Awakening, and that's on there 3 times. And it's making it look like there are more games than there actually are. Because it's like, yeah, it's Link's Awakening, then it's DX, and then it's like DX European. It's like, that's technically the same game. What I think they should have done is just is just like make that like one tile and then make you select your language like you would done. But no, it's like broke it down into several lots. It's like, that's strange. But I've done it with a couple of other titles as well. So it really makes it look like there's more than there actually is.
Yeah, I found that. I didn't understand why they put, like, especially with Link's Awakening, why they put all those different versions in. Yeah, the DX version and the normal version I get, but then they had like loads of different other versions, whereas like I don't understand.
Again, with the if you go on like the Super Nintendo one, there's like duplicate versions of games, but where they've got a tag called SP.
Oh yeah.
And I wonder what the hell that was. And I googled it, and it turns out if you choose like the SP ones, they're like sort of souped up ones.
Yeah.
So if you play something like Super Metroid in the SP one, it starts you like partway through the game with like every power up.
Yeah. Like there's one for like the original Zelda where it just starts you right at the end with like just before you're about to go against Ganondorf.
Yeah, it's kind of like a reverse demo.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the end of the game. But if it gets more people playing the old games, then I'm all for it. If it gives you a bit of a power trip.
Yeah.
It's a weird inclusion, but there we are. Accessibility, I suppose. If you want to play Zelda, but you're not very good at it, but you want to say, hey, I beat Ganon, then it's an option, I suppose.
Well, I don't know. I think there's loads of games they could add to both, but we'll see what happens. I think one thing I've never liked about with all the Game Boy Color, NES and SNES, and I'm assuming the N64 and the Sega ones are the same. Is that you can't reorganize all the games when you're on the app?
No, you can't sort them. There's like
sometimes
they're not in alphabetical. Are they in like release order? Like,
I think it's release order. Yeah. I'm just gonna have a nosy now.
Even that doesn't make sense. Because even if you're starting with like the first ones that came on the app, if it's in that order, then there's still like all over the place. I don't know. But I did play Pokemon Snap again, so that was nice.
I've never played it.
You never played Pokemon Snap?
Nope.
It's great. Imagine, if you will, an on-rail shooter, but they're not allowed violence, so they just give you a camera instead. You just aim at the Pokemon and press the shoot button. It's a good time. It's a good time. The first Pokemon.
Oh wait, no, you can sort. So your only options to sort is by title, release date, last play, total time play, and you can also do a custom order. So you can actually do it. You press Y and you can move them around.
Oh,
so you can.
Oh, maybe.
There we are then.
Well, that whole section is redundant, but.
Yeah. So I thought for a second you can move them because I did it on the Nintendo 64 one. I was just like, hang on a minute. I remember putting my Legend of Zelda ones at the top.
Oh, okay. I'll probably do that when I'm off from Gage.
Yeah. I don't know if you also know this, but if you go into the settings, there's an option right at the bottom for show controls in game. You can tick that so it gets rid of the whole suspend menu thing at the bottom of the screen. I actually didn't know that.
You can also get classic feel and small screen display on it as well. So you can change if you want it to look rustic or not.
Yeah. I don't know why you want to do that.
Neither do I.
When you get like things are like upscale to HD and they sort of give it like this blurry effect, it's like, why the hell would you do that?
Sorry. Speaking of that, I recently saw like a picture. It was just like, people saying, they don't make game graphics like they used to. Like I used to love old game graphics, and it's like a picture of like the faces from GoldenEye. I was just like, that's fucking brilliant. Because they look so weird sometimes.
Robbie Coltrane, especially. We're on about that last week. I bought like the Mega Man Zero collection on the Xbox, and they like changed the graphics on that, but for some reason they've got them on like the worst graphics by default. The first thing you do when you boot it up is go to the menu and it's like, god damn, change that, because I like try to smooth down the edges from like a pixelated look to a sort of rounded off HD look, and it just looks like someone's smudged crayon all over it. It doesn't look right. It really is. Like, oh no, none of that. And another thing it does is, because some of the games were like for the DS, it's got like a dual screen on there. So again, first thing you do, options, change it, because it's got the worst fucking layout possible as default. It's like, why would you have it like this? It looks uncomfortable. And so yeah, the first thing you do in the Zero collection, for God's sake, change everything. Do not have anything by default. You will have a miserable time. And by extension, I suppose this problem goes all the way to the SNES games. That's the point. Mega Man X games. Boom, whack them on the SNES, put that on their Switch, get it on, I'll play that. But the first thing you do in that, go to the options, change the dash button to the shoulder button. Do not try and play it in the normal one. If you're trying to jump with the A button and shoot and dash with the Y button, you're going to have a bad time. You will have crab claw hands by the end of it. Hear me.
Well, I I've also realised that near enough the next few months, I'm pretty much getting. I think I've pre-ordered enough games that I'm getting a new game every month. Although I've got 2 new games coming next week because I've got Octopath Traveler 2 coming, and then I've pre-ordered the physical edition of Metroid Prime because I love Metroid Prime. So yeah, I've got the physical edition of Metroid Prime Remastered, so I've got that coming as well. So I'll have a play on that ready for play on them for next episode. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
The only game I've got coming is Wo Long. Wo Long, the Team Ninja game, is my next one to come.
Yeah, I was about to say, I've got the physical copies of the original Metroid games, so I can't say I'm bothered about the remaster.
I wasn't.
I had a look at like the side-by-side like comparisons for like the screenshots, and it doesn't look different enough for it to warrant it.
I initially wasn't, and then I was like, it's Metroid Prime Remastered. I'm a simp, so I'm buying it.
I gotta say, hot take, I'm not a huge fan of the Prime series. I love Metroid, but I much prefer the 2D ones to the 3D ones by a country mile. That's just me though.
I think generally people do, but I think I think a lot of people love Prime, just the very first one. I think all 3 of them are coming to Switch now. I think it's basically 2 and 3 have basically been confirmed that they're coming to Switch as well at some point. I know it's been all 3 were rumoured, but now I think it's near enough been leaked that 2 and 3 are coming.
That's bound to, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think I've played all 3, and I always think the first one's the best because it's not unlike. It's basically Samus doing like she's basically gone to the planet to be a kind of like a researcher and archaeologist more than a bounty hunter like she normally is. She's just basically exploring the planet, not trying to kill a whole load of space pirates.
See, the first thing that springs to mind when I think of Metroid Prime is scanning, stopping every 2 seconds to scan something. And I've played all the Metroid Prime games. I haven't replayed any of them in all this time. I started Metroid Prime again a couple of times, and I get like an hour in, I just sort of get bored.
I love it, but I've replayed both 1 and 2 a few times, and I love them. Each their own.
Each their own. Yeah, I can't deny they're not good games, but it's funny. I couldn't give them 10 out of 10s, not in good conscience myself.
It's like, I saw a meme actually soon after Metroid Prime Remaster was announced and was released that just shat on Super Metroid, and I was just like, oh no, if Chris saw this meme, he would not be happy. I think I've actually got it. I'm going to send it in the chat as we keep on talking.
Go for it. I'm going to guess IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. Of course it did.
Oh yeah, IGN gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, of course it did. I wasn't expect any different. Well, while we're down sending me memes, I've actually played a new game.
New one?
A new one, yes. New and shiny. And just like the Metroid Prime Remaster, it shadow dropped. It just came the fuck out of nowhere. You know what the next words out of my mouth are going to say, aren't you?
The next words out of my mouth is I've heard a lot of good things about this game. Cause I've already listened to a podcast that's spoken about this game, and they've said very good stuff about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's on Game Pass.
Of course it is.
If I change up the way I say it every time, maybe we can change that. Well, okay, yeah. Well, it came out anyway, just the fuck out of nowhere. I saw the big words Bethesda, which I suppose is one word.
That'll trigger some people.
Yeah. However, this game's got a few good things going for it straight off the bat. 1, it's bright and colourful. 2, got a killer soundtrack. 9 Inch Nails and Prodigy, boom, before anything else. Hell. Yeah, that was enough. As soon as I seen 9 Inch Nails, I go, yeah, I'm downloading that. And I'm rather glad I did. So, Hi-Fi Rush sees you starring as a person called Chai, who goes to basically a robot manufacturing plant called Vandalay, and undergoes surgery to sort of try and get sort of like robot prosthetics, and is considered a defect. And in the process, he's got an MP3 player with him because he's into his music, and through some wacky antics, accidentally gets like fused with it and gets a robot arm. And this links into the core of the game, where it's all kind of rhythm-based. All the combat's rhythm-based, the platform is rhythm-based, the whole world sort of moves to a beat. Like things like shrubberies like bounce up and down. There's little visual indicators like your character Chai like snaps along as well. And it's like in time with the actual music. So whatever the beat is, that's what the beat is, and that's what you jump along to. But in a good way, like, because there's been a couple of rhythm games like Crypt of the Necrodancer, Metal Hellsinger. They've done like some very similar things recently. What I do like about Hi-Fi Rush is, although the rhythm is a strong part of the combat, and you do kind of like get penalized for like being out of time, it doesn't like outright stop you or say like you've failed. In combat, you still do deal damage. You just don't deal as much, or you don't regain as much health. So, because I think initially that put me off, is because I'd say I've got a pretty good rhythm, because in IRL I like, play a bit of bass. Not great, but I do play a bit of bass. So I like to think I've got some rhythm. This game thinks otherwise. Right. But the actual gameplay, like moment to moment, is kind of a hell of a lot like the original Devil May Cry and God of War's, where it's like sort of semi-puzzle platforming, followed by combat in like arenas. And you always know when a fight's coming up. You see like a circular arena coming up, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have a fight there. But there's a lot going on in the combat. So you essentially have a like light and a heavy attack, and the light attack you like hit with like every note to the beat. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So you like press the button along with that combo. And then you've got a heavy attack, which is like every other beat. So attack 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. And if you sort of rest between beats as well, you can do different combos. So I don't know if you know, like something like Devil May Cry, instead of like just mashing the attack button, if you like pause for like half a second and then carry on, you do like different combos. Same kind of thing here, but you've also got a shop where you can get upgrades, so different combos. So if you mix between heavy and light attacks with like different pauses, or whether you're up in the air, there's tons of moves. And then you got special moves as well, which rely on like your sort of what the game calls like the reverb gauge. It's your special ability meter, really. There's a ton of different moves you can buy and swap out. It's a lot of customization for your character, because you can swap out like your finisher skills, your attack combos. Later on, you upgrade sort of like passive stuff as well. There's stuff to find in the overworld and the platforming sections, like essentially like pieces of heart, sort of equivalents to like get yourself more hit points, that kind of thing. You buy them in the shops too. It ticks a lot of boxes that scratch a very good itch. So if you like your God of Wars or your Devil May Cry, I highly recommend this. And even to add more to the combat later on, like you unlock like different characters who you don't play as, but you do like summon into the fights who are on a cooldown, and you get more and more over time, and you can keep swapping them around, and you can just the combos you can get are kind of insane once you start unlocking more stuff. Because if you're not attacking, you're doing your special combos, and then you're summoning your guys in as well. You got a grappling hook, because all good games have a grappling hook. You can just keep it going, and it gets really satisfying, especially if you can keep it in with rhythm. If I do have one nitpick with it, it's that sometimes I think the platforming of all things is a little bit janky. As far as I'm aware, your character doesn't have a drop shadow, which seems like
that can make it quite difficult to land.
Yeah, and you sort of have like a sort of mid-air dash, and I've found a couple of times it's not been like a major problem. For the most part, it's fine, but sometimes it's like I'm not quite sure if I'm going to make this landing from here, because it's like a sort of third-person camera. It's like, I think I'm going to make it, and like 99% of the time I do. But every now and again, it's like, I'm not sure where I'm going to land here. And there's a couple of points where like you want like sort of a vertical plane, so like you like going up and down, and sometimes it does that thing where you can see like stuff, but they're not part of the stage, but they look like platforms you can jump down to, only to find out, oh no, you can't go down there. Game says no and like boots you back up to the platform. It's like, I thought that was a secret. It's not. And there's one more thing which annoyed me. So the other friends you can get to tag along with you sort of have like in-game, like out of combat sort of abilities. So like to get like past certain obstacles, you sort of like summon them in, and you've got to use their ability like in time in the music. But one of the characters, it's simply all you have to do is like time it right as you'd expect, but it always seems slightly off. And sometimes when I do it, it's like sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's like I know how to do it. It's literally just like a button press, but it wouldn't be so bad of an issue. But there was one part in one of the stages where you're like under a strict time limit, because like you're being chased down, and if you fail, it's like game over. And so when I'm under pressure, I just couldn't fucking do it. I swear, I tried like 20, probably even 30 times on this same section. I get to this bit where I've just got to use one ability, which I've done loads of times before, and I just couldn't bloody do it. I got it eventually, but it was driving me nuts. It's like, just do the thing. Why aren't you doing it? But apart from those nitpicks aside, I'm having a really good time with it. All the characters are sort of like, I guess, a bit hipstery, I suppose is the correct term. And I thought at first they might get quite annoying, but to my surprise, no. They've actually been quite funny. I've actually enjoyed the dialogue between them all. It's certainly got a good sense of humour. There's plenty of Easter eggs in the game. One of my favourite Easter eggs I found in a minute is there are 2 robots like knocking around who you can bump into from time to time, and they are quite clearly references to the game's The Evil Women, because it's like based on their models, but they're like robots. And they've got like very similar dialogue. Because surprisingly, this game is also developed by Tango Softworks, who did The Evil Within with Bethesda as well, and it's also done by Shinji Mikami, who you might know as someone who, well, basically the dad of Resident Evil. So that's a strange coincidence, a connection. Hi-Fi Rush, 9 Inch Nails, Resident Evil. I see. So,
it definitely seems like a bit of a experimental, like that teenage years where they start to experiment with stuff. That's in terms of like graphically, I just compare it to all the other games they've made.
Yeah, it's one of those. But I know Bethesda like kind of put references to their other titles in there. Like Doom Eternal had like the Dirtfish in there from like Commander Keen. The Evil Within 2 had collectibles which referenced other games like the Elder Scrolls and whatnot, as sort of Easter eggs. I'll tell you what, for any sort of audiophile or anyone who claims to care about music, you should totally give this game a whirl. Dan, I know you're really into your music, so I think this game will be right up your alley.
It sounds interesting from... Obviously, you talking about it and the other podcasts I listened to. Although on that one, 2 people played it. One really liked it, and the other one was like, "I can't do the tutorials," and it just had It was just quite funny just hearing him struggle with the tutorials. But
I suppose because it's rhythm based, but then I'd argue like, isn't most like aren't all games like kind of rhythm based in a way? Because you got QTEs, which. That's just basically rhythm based.
We were saying
just jumping at the right time. It's like, well, that's essentially a rhythm. Yeah, it doesn't like spell it out, but it's there.
Like I even thought that when we were talking about Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, like even that is like all the combat's like quick time event kind of thing.
Hell, if you break down the combat in Dark Souls, that's essentially a rhythm.
I was literally about to say, like, Dark Souls only room.
You've got to know when to attack. Yeah, you've got to know when to attack, when to dodge.
It always comes back to From Software, no matter what we talk about. It always comes back.
Yeah. So Hi-Fi Rush is the Dark Souls of a cel-shaded, Devil May Cry-inspired fighting platforming games. So actually, speaking of music, very quickly, probably spoiler for the next episode, but currently at time of the recording, I've downloaded the game Atomic Hearts, which releases tomorrow, but I've got it downloaded ready to go, and I'm looking forward to that because Mick Gordon does the music to it.
Yeah, I remember you posted that on social media somewhere.
I did, yeah, and I tell you what, it's on Game Pass.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. I get to play it day one. Hooray! So, like, as soon as midnight hits, in like a couple of hours, I'm going to be playing Atomic Hearts. I was trying very, very desperately to like try and finish Hi-Fi Rush before this because I got told it was like quite short. Because even the developers apparently did a social media pass saying like they were getting backlash because it was short, and the game's like 12 missions long, and I'm like on mission 9, and my thought is, who's saying it's short? It's not short at all. I've been playing it at like 7 hours, and I haven't finished yet. You look on the look online, you said time to beat. It says like anywhere between like 15 to 45 hours for completionists. So don't know what people are moaning about there.
Yeah.
What else have you all been up to?
I sent that meme if you wanted to have a look at it.
Okay, let's have a look at Dan's meme.
Well, it's the Metroid meme.
Is this one I'm going to understand?
I don't, to be honest, I don't even understand the final panel of it. Because I've not played the final game, so I don't know.
It's basically saying like all hardcore Metroid fans would have played Metroid Pinball.
Well, I have. I've got it. I bought it import.
There you go. Chris is the one with the massive spiky dong.
Yeah, that's the Rumble Pack feature. It's Super Metroid's still the best one. I know it is because I was playing it this afternoon, and it's still the best.
Yeah, the fact that wait, what?
You're being a bit lost, Dan.
Yeah,
Are we cutting this bit?
Probably. Are we cutting quite a few little bits anyway? Well, I'm gonna wait till Chris's seen it, but I have seen Ant-Man 3. But
Quantum Mania.
Yeah, but I'm not saying anything until Chris has seen it. I want to hear what so you can get both of our thoughts. But I have seen it.
Hopefully I'll be seeing that by the time of next recording.
Are you expecting it to be polarizing?
I'm literally saying nothing.
From what I understand on the reviews, it's not looking good, but I still like both the Ant-Man films, and other people went, "Oh, it's stupid." So I'll see. But I suppose while we were very quickly touching on films, since you mentioned Ant-Man, the trailer dropped for Tetris movie, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's a good follow-on.
Yeah.
So it's like I planned it.
Well, I guess the Tetris film was announced a long time ago. And I remember seeing that it got announced a long time ago, and I was like, what? Are they going to make an animated film about Tetris? That sounds like the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then, literally before we started recording this, Brandon and I watched the trailer. And, that's definitely not what I expected.
It's definitely not what I expected. It's like Tetris meets James Bond. That's literally what it is.
Story.
And it's based on a true story
with some liberties taken. Yeah, as Dan says, I think initially when they did announce it, and this is going back years, it's been in like development hell for ages. I think they got the rights to it and just didn't know what the fuck to do with it. So we thought we were going to get like a sort of story about the Tetris pieces, like a sort of crap emoji movie, like the emoji movie, which is crap.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the hell we're doing. But the Tetris film, judging by the trailer, it's got Taron Egerton in it, who you may know as Elton John in Rocket Man, and Eddie the Eagle, and
Kingsman.
Kingsman, that's the one, and Golden Circle as well. So stars him as essentially the creator of Tetris. I'm not quite sure what kind of character he is at the minute. The trailer doesn't make it entirely crystal cut clear.
Well,
who's playing what?
He seemed to be like the guy.
The marketing guy.
Yeah, because he has the Russian guys seem to be the creator of Tetris, who didn't seem like it seems like he's gonna be one of the main characters, but he didn't seem to have as much screen time in that trailer as Taron Egerton did.
Yeah, well, it's supposedly based on the true story. And if you know the true story of Alexei, prices he gets screwed over, and still does to this day, as far as I'm aware. He's still very much alive. I couldn't tell you the exact true story of this. I've seen like the true story of like Tetris a couple of times from like different sources, and at the current moment I can't piece it together from my memory just sitting here, not without looking it up anyway. But yeah, the true story of it's a bit nuts, and it's one of those where you like feel bad for the creator because it's like kind of ruined their lives. So that's a bit of a shame, but it kind of looks like it's taking like the base foundation of the story and kind of like it's amping it up a bit. It's like romanticized it. Looks like it's got chase scenes in it as well. Like I said, a bit James Bondy. It's like, I'm pretty sure that never happened. Maybe it did, but I doubt it.
They just really want to play Tetris on the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, they did. Oh man, it looks like I don't know how this one's gonna go. I kind of wanted to stick to the source material, but obviously it's not going to be 1-to-1 realistic looking at it. But if I can get a fun film out of it, then all the better. And the worst thing a film can be is boring. Like if they would tell the true story of Tetris, but say in a real courtroom type drama, it would be very, very boring. I imagine. So we need something to spruce it up. So slapping Taron Egerton, give him a silly voice and a gun, and boom, Bob's your monkey. We're off. Apparently, this script was in development hell for ages because every time they wrote like a full paragraph, the lines would just disappear and they'd have to start again. Yeah, Tetris looks interesting. No idea when the hell it's coming out.
I don't think they know.
To be fair, when the Game Boy was put onto the Switch Online, I may have played Tetris for about an hour. Literally straight after that Nintendo Direct, I then played Tetris for about an hour, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna happen! This is gonna happen again." I can tell. I'm just gonna play Tetris. I fucking love Tetris, but I'm gonna lose loads of time to play in this game. Oh no.
Yeah, I used to play it all the time around my nan's when I was younger. It was so bad. You know, like those consoles where it's like 120 games in one, which you'd like buy at the seaside or something.
Yeah.
I would play that and Super Mario all the time.
Did you know, while we're on it, that like the rarest, most expensive game you can get for the Mega Drive is Tetris because they released it without permission.
Oh.
They released Tetris, it was like Nintendo have the rights to that. or something along those lines. So they pulled it off like very, very quickly. So yeah, that's like the rarest game for Mega Drive is Tetris. There we are.
Sometimes I look at my collection of games, and I know I have some really rare games, and it's weird thinking that all those years ago I bought certain games and they were whatever price they were, and now it's like they're worth more than what I bought them for. It's absolutely mad.
You know what really pickles my onions is like when you see like how expensive some of the games are, and you would have cool like seeing them in a bargain bin for like 50p when they had like 20 copies of them, and now they're going for like at least like 50 quid. And you're like, bloody hell, if I knew that, I would have bought the job lot. What's that? You want 25 copies of Shrek and GameCube? It's like, damn right I do. Just you wait. Shrek might be like super massive at the minute, but just you give it 20 years when all the memes come out.
Yeah, it'll be a cult classic.
It's like I remember having Kirby's Air Ride, and I think I got rid of it, and now it's like must be about 70 quid a copy. It's ridiculous. So.
Yeah, just a bit. Well, unfortunately, you think I said like, Mega Drive Tetris is like rare. The Mega Drive, that's an option on Nintendo Switch Online as well. And I looked out of curiosity to say, I wonder if it's got Mega Drive Tetris on here, because now it's on a Nintendo console. No, it doesn't. What is
Doubt it.
Damn it. Damn it. Hey, who's worth looking? Yeah.
I'm interested in that Tetris film. I think it'll be an interesting one. I did not expect it to be that, but it's cool that it's more like a it's like a biopic.
Yeah, in the loosest sense of the word.
Yeah.
And not exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting like all Benedict Cumberbatch voices the L shape. Everyone else is voiced by Chris Pratt.
Everyone's voiced by Chris Pratt these days.
Yeah, even Chris Pratt.
Although I'm going to be honest, the Super Mario film, it currently is my most anticipated film this year.
I mean, I want it to, but it's Illumination. They can fuck off, frankly. They make like the worst films. Everything I hate about like kids animation is all them.
I've seen
pretty much anyone worth their salt in like filmmaking hates Illumination with a burning passion.
What's stupid is I've near enough seen all their films as well, not even by choice.
No, they're not the kind of things you get dragged to see as some kind of form of torture.
Yeah, well, I've not watched like the last Minions one, but I've seen all the Despicable Me's in the first Minion film and the Grinch.
Oh, the Grinches. Wait, what, the Jim Carrey Grinch?
No,
not that one.
No, the animated Grinch.
Oh, was that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's got Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch.
What? Sherlock Holmes was the Grinch?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Alan Turing is the Grinch.
Yeah. What?
Have you not seen Imitation Game with Bendy Wixlack?
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, what? I got really confused. Yeah.
You've had a cucumber. There were Humperdinck playing Alan Turing in the Imitation Game. That's essentially a Tetris movie. Just before Tetris. You just make computers.
But Brandon and I actually went to cinema last week.
Yes, we did.
Well, I went on Friday to see Ant-Man, but I went with Brandon. We went the day after Valentine's. We went to see a animated rom-com film the day after Valentine's. Yep.
Yes, we watched the Kaguya Lovers War movie.
Yep.
Yes. What were your thoughts, Dan?
What I would say, I enjoyed it. What I would say, if Chris has seen Ant-Man, I would say something else, but I'm not going to say it. But I did really enjoy the anime film.
I enjoyed it. I just found it hilarious that the whole reason of the film's existence is because when Kaguya went to kiss him, she accidentally tongued him, thinking that was the right thing to do. It was just funny seeing like they just spiral out of control.
Like with Kaguya-Sama, I like all three seasons. I think season 2 felt like the peak of the franchise, and I don't know, for the most part, the third season felt to me. I know I'm probably like I know a lot of people disagree with me, and that's fine. I felt like season 3, it felt like it was kind of doing the same thing again, and it's only really at the end where it popped off. Like the last episode is fantastic, but I felt for the most part it was kind of doing the same thing, and the film felt like a really nice epilogue to the 3 seasons that we've had over the years, as well as a fresh start for if they continue the series, because the manga only finished last year, so they still got loads still to go if they want to animate it all.
Like the thing, I'd say my main gripe which I have with the film is that it has this they just overly sexualized it. I'd say, like, the amount of times the word sex appeared on the screen, I was just like, that's, if they're going to try and make the film like appeal to the wider masses, I think just blaring the word sex over and over again on the screen is probably not the best way to go about it. But I mean, it was still like an absolute joy to watch. Like, the humor in it was great, just everything was great. And actually seeing, it's nice watching a rom-com anime and actually seeing, romance actually develop, because the amount of times, like, in anime where you watch a rom-com and no one gets together, it pisses me off.
I'm watching one at the moment, and I just got to episode 7, and it's just like, just kiss already. Oh my gosh. It's like head pats, hugging. It's like, oh, can you just oh no, oh, I don't like you in that, he doesn't like me in that way, oh, I don't, it's like, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna fall for her now. It's like, oh my gosh, just make out already. At least with the Kaguya-Sama film, it was just like, right, they've kissed. Now it was essentially both main characters were having an existential crisis over the kiss for about an hour and a half of the fact that the two of them had kissed each other, and it was just them having an existential crisis, and both of them were just the complete opposite, as well as being very similar.
Like we said, like, it was a nice watch. It followed nicely on from the end of the season. Yeah, it's just funny. But there's that one guy at the back who had like the loudest sneezes I've ever fucking heard in a cinema.
I don't think I noticed.
Did you not hear him? He sounded like he was like, it's like trying to like let off a rocket or something. Like every time he sneezed or something. They were just not having a fun time with their sneezes.
I enjoyed it.
It was good.
It was good. You've also been watching something else, haven't you, Brandon?
Yes, so rewind last year where all of us wanted to become farmers.
Just you.
Just you.
What, have you seen it?
No, I've not watched Clarkson Farm. What? You're the only one who's watched Clarkson Farm.
Okay, no, guys, you guys are missing out. Oh my days.
I'm planning to watch it. I'm just not. I haven't watched it yet.
It feels so weird me being ahead of the game in front of you two. It's unheard of. But yeah, so Clarksons Farm Season 2 follows on from the adventures of Season 1. But this time it's got more focus on dairy farming and the actual struggles of... Honestly, this is actually quite heart-wrenching. So Season 2 is basically addressing the financial constraints that farmers are now facing because of Brexit and because of the government now no longer subsidizing farmers or giving them grants for whatever reasons. So the government have now recommended that farmers need to branch out, diversify, and have alternative income streams. So Clarkson's idea was, okay, why not set up a farm restaurant? Like, we've got a farm shop, why don't we set up a farm restaurant? So that way we can actually dish out, the beef, the chicken, the vegetables and whatnot. And it was actually heartbreaking because there was an outbreak of badger TB going on. And there was one cow farmer who would like drop off milk at Clarkson's farm shop. And she was saying, like, I've just had like 60 cows just get cold because they all contracted TB. And I was like, that's actually heart-wrenching that farmers are under such constraint. And then it went on to about trying to get like the West Oxfordshire Parish Council to try and get approval for Clarkson to open a restaurant to actually supply income to these other farmers. Like, all these farmers can't sell pigs, they can't sell their veg, they're just really, really struggling. And the council like refusing the farmers to open up a restaurant to be able to sell their produce, and Clarkson like literally battling the case. It was actually heart-wrenching seeing like the amount of people struggling financially. It's funny watching the cows as well, because like even the sheep give them grief, but the cows and the chickens and the cockerels were just a different breed. They were just constantly just wrecking havoc. But yeah, honestly, Clarkson's Farm Season 2, if any of you are remotely interested in farming, agriculture, or just wanting to know more about like the British countryside, please watch Clarkson's Farm Season 2. It's more along the lines of a documentary than it is like a mockumentary of what Clarkson's notorious for in terms of Top Gear and stuff. It is highly educational, really, really high educational, and I cannot wait for Season 3 whenever it comes, if it comes. Yeah, fucking watch it. Have you got any questions about Clarkson's Farm, you two? Because you've been silent as I talk about it.
Well, my brother's watched it, and he was telling me how he in the second season he gets a digger and he buys like a massive thing to go on the front, and he has to count. He doesn't counterbalance it.
And he starts wheeling.
Yeah, he starts doing wheelies on it. That's what my
He has to
brother...
get Caleb to counterbalance until he can actually get it onto the road. Yeah, honestly, obviously we've got Gerald, who no one can understand. You've got who else? Right, yeah, you get more attention to the building side of it. Charlie has stepped up his game, like really showing the ropes and stuff of like just what they have to deal with. Yeah, honestly, it's just please watch it. I urge anyone, just please watch it, give it a chance, and just ignore like even if you're an enemy of Clarkson, just please watch it just to have just some idea to support like British countryside, because it is really eye opening.
The thing is, you say all this, and I still know that Chris is never going to touch it.
Yeah,
No.
just ignore Clarkson and just watch it for the education reasons. Honestly, it's beautiful.
I can feel like Chris is just like, man, I hate that man with a burning passion.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't used to mind him all that much. I actually read a couple of his books, but we're talking years and years and years ago, like back in like 2002. And then I'm gonna put it went off the boil some years back.
I think he's definitely a person you take with a pinch of salt.
Mm.
Like some of the stuff in the Grand Tour, I was like, this is just ridiculous. You say you're a car show, and then the amount of stuff they do, it's like you're just doing it for entertainment. It's like why do you even say you're a car show? It is just, well, you are a car show, but it is just entertainment.
Yeah. Top Gear and Grand Tour, they're entertainment. Like original Top Gear was car, but then as budgets got increased and people like the entertainment value, then they did become entertainment.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're still doing the Grand Tour. I think I don't know. They've got another special or so, but I don't know. I think I read some stuff about maybe the contract with Clarkson might be coming to an end with Prime, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, there's been rumors about that for season 3 of Clarksons Farm as well.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is, but I read something that it might have fallen through, but I don't know. Yeah. You have played another game, haven't you, Brandon?
It's all revolving around me today, isn't it?
Well,
so, I was talking for ages, to be fair.
Yeah. So you've both played some of the Dark Pictures games, haven't you? Like The Quarry, like that, haven't you? Oh, you played nothing. What about you, Chris?
I played the first one, Until Dawn.
Yeah. So we've mentioned Until Dawn before, and a few episodes ago, I mentioned that I played the Quarry, and you know how much of a decent time I had. I've recently started playing the next installment of the Dark Pictures anthology, and so that one is The Devil in Me, which is about the murder hotel. Holmes, I think his name is. Do you know the story about that?
Can't say I did.
So it's about like this guy. He basically built a hotel to try and trap people and basically murder them, and he became like one of America's like most notorious criminals, and was actually dubbed, like, I think in the game, like called like America's first serial killer or whatever. So it's basically a game about, you know, people who are basically like film studies people wanting to make like a documentary, and they will make a film, and they go into this hotel, think it's just a normal hotel, but it's now being sort of overly dramatified. So I don't know how far into the game I am yet, so I don't know what the actual outcome's going to be or what the actual overarching villain is. But may I say, compared to The Quarry, it's a buggy ass nightmare. It is, in terms of playability, so it's so janky. Like some of the mechanics have now got, so each of the characters have their own sort of like quirk, so be it. So like one of the characters have got asthma, so if you're ever in a tricky situation, you need to take your inhaler to calm yourself down. But it won't warn you or tell you that you have an inhaler. You've just got it, and then if you take it or don't take it, you get fucked. You've got one character who her trait is to control her heartbeat, so you have to like a rhythm game, ironically, control her heartbeat in certain scenarios, and if you don't control it, you get caught. And I've got one character who's like a chain smoker, so he's like struggling with his nicotine addiction or whatever, but he's got a lighter and he can actually open up a chest of drawers with credit cards or business cards. So, you know, you've got a nice sort of mix of characters, but it is just so buggy and so strange. So like I was like just like walking through the overworld, and I would just get stuck, or the characters would just block corridors, or just things would just go absolutely mental on the screen. And I was like, I've got no idea what's going on. Some of the, like, it just, I mean, it's still early days in the game, but it just feels very rushed and incomplete compared to the likes of The Quarry and Until Dawn. There's just a lot of sort of gameplay mechanics which need to be tweaked to make it flow a bit better, and like actually having like the other NPCs just move more fluid and not just get stuck blocking you from like picking up collectibles or whatever would be kind of helpful. And even just some quality of life things, so like if you collect something, just display it in order rather than thinking, okay, the first few collectibles appear in order, but then all of a sudden there's like a gap in my collector's order, and I'm just like, okay, have I missed something? But then later down the line you find it, and you're just like, well, that wasn't there last time. Why has it just appeared there? Because it just makes you paranoid and start backtracking when you don't really need to. But yeah, I'd say compared to the other Dark Pictures games, I feel like The Devil in Me is not there in terms of strong points. It definitely feels like it needs some working on or some hot fixes just to make it a bit more playable. It is a shame because I did enjoy the likes of The Quarry, but yeah, the Devil in Me is not really sticking with me, I'm afraid.
All I hear, all I hear from all of these types of games is I hear great things about Until Dawn, and every other one I just hear mixed things.
I mean, like, I've played Little Hope. Little Hope played quite nicely. That was like, quite immersive and quite spooky. The Quarry was quite nice because I didn't really expect it to turn into like a werewolf-based one. That was quite nice.
Spoilers.
Well, it's not really a spoiler. It's been out for quite a while.
But
yeah, it was quite. Obviously, there's like plot holes, loopholes, and whatnot. But I don't know. There's just like some of them just get quite janky, especially like The Devil in Me. It's just, I don't know if it gets ironed out further down the line. But right now, I'd probably be saying like The Devil in Me is probably my least favorite of the Dark Pictures games.
I find it interesting when you say like it's buggy, because from what I can tell, and I've only just played like Until Dawn, I don't recall anyone ever saying like the other titles were buggy. The main downfall is they are like narrative based, but the stories aren't good. And that's like the one thing they need to nail. It normally boils down to the gameplay's just QTEs. They give you decisions that make no difference whether you pick this one or that one. If you replay the game, it's like the same outcome. They're more just there to sort of go, you're still there, you're awake still, you're paying attention. So press a button to do something. And
that's why I quite like The Quarry, because The Quarry, it felt like you were sort of learning more about this family and the actual reasoning of why what's happening is happening. It was nice. Like I think. I think I do prefer The Quarry over Until Dawn. Like that's just me.
I think they may have the slight same problem like with Tales series. Telltales. Like the same sort of problem where it's like it's similar gameplay. It's like the first Walking Dead is like it's a fresh air. It's like a sort of old school point and click but narrative. But then kind of like the Lego games as well. It's like it's the same thing. It's like there's a different story, but gameplay wise, it's not much different. And as I say, like Until Dawn gets a lot of praise because it was the first one, and yeah, it was different. It did look nice, like the motion capture in that did look great. But I suppose it's more fondly remembered because of all the stories. It's the best one, like narratively. I didn't think it was great, and I don't think a lot of other people thought it wasn't. It's not Shakespeare or anything like that,
no.
but if we're grading on a curve out of the rest of them, it's the best one. But as I say, I've not played the others. I think games like that, I think Heavy Rain, I know it's not like the same one but David Cage, but in a similar sort of vein. Heavy Rain's like more fondly remembered because it's got a better story.
Despite it being a David Cage game, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't mind the David Cage ones as much. I had more fun with Until Dawn, I think, because I did it live with like chat. So when I say, which one we doing, this or that, it kind of made it more interesting for a first-time player. It's like we will just roll with whatever chat says. So I even went to do the second one at one point. Is it Man of Medan? But I never got around to it. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do this at Halloween. Just never did. Because every time I sort of looked at it, it's like, yeah, do I really want to play it? No. I'd much rather be playing Silent Hill for Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played Man of Medan and I've not played House of Ashes, so I don't really know what they're like, but yeah, I don't know. They need to bring some sort of fresh air into it.
Is Devil Inside the fifth one now?
The Devil in Me, I don't know. Let me just have a look on the wiki.
I didn't realise there were that many.
Yeah, there's
I know there's a few, but I thought it was like the fourth one. So they seem to be coming out like...
Yeah, okay, so the Dark Pictures anthology is Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes, and The Devil in Me. But before then, the Dark Pictures have also got... Oh, let me just go through. I mean, that's not Dark Pictures. What the fuck? I was just... For some reason, I clicked on Dark Pictures and it just took me on to an anthology series, so I started reading poetry. That confused me. Come on. Work. Sorry, just bear with. Yeah, so they've got Until Dawn. What was the one after that? Wow, why can't I find proper things on the Wikipedia?
I thought it was Until Dawn, then Men of Medan, and then the other ones. I think The Quarry was the fourth one. The Devil in Me is the fourth. What's the name of the third one?
House of Ashes.
Yeah, so you got that's what I said. Like season 1 of the Dark Pictures is Men of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes, The Devil in Me. But obviously, they've made the likes of Until Dawn, which might have just been like a one-off and then get into the series.
So I thought it was part of the same universe. Essentially, it is. I think it's a little presumptuous to like call it season 1. Like, yeah, we're definitely going to get season 2.
Well, they've already planned season 2.
Yeah.
So, but wait, if I go back onto the wiki though,
they do seem to be dropping off.
Season 2 is to be announced.
Yeah, I was going to say they've got to be dropping off because even on our platform like Twitch, haven't seen anyone play The Devil in Me. I've seen a couple do like Men of Medan when that first came out, but I think like after that, I don't think I've seen anyone play any of them. Not on the channels I watch anyway.
Yeah, I think it's just one of these game series where once it's out, people will rush to play it and just witness the story, and then once they're done, it's just lost its value.
Yeah,
it's just like a book or a film. You read it or watch it once and kind of happy.
Again, I still, from time to time, especially around Halloween, I do see people like play Until Dawn again, but not the others. Until Dawn's still like doing the rounds. As I say, it's the first one, and if you haven't played the series before, then you're going to play the first one. And because the quality's not there and the stories just aren't as good, you might play it Until Dawn, then you'll play like the second one and went, oh, well, that was a bit disappointing, and then just not bother with the rest.
Oh yes. Oh sorry. So so it's Until Dawn. Then you've got the Dark Pictures anthology. The Quarry is just an existence of its own. So yeah, so they've got the 6 games.
Oh, that would explain why the Quarry is like more different to the others than if it's not in the same anthology.
Yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah, I mean, mystery solved.
God, I felt like I was literally playing a Dark Pictures game just trying to figure that information out. Like me typing into Wikipedia turned into a QuickTime event.
And it wouldn't have mattered what choice you made because you're still at the end of the day recording the podcast. Your choices are meaningless. It's all going to end up cutting.
I don't know. I don't think I have any interest in playing any of those Dark Picture games.
No, I only really did it for chat because they were like, "Oh, I should do Until Dawn." It's like, fine, but I can't say I've got any interest really. I mean, it was a laugh, but only with a live audience. If I'd have played it for myself, I don't think I'd have even finished it. I'd have probably played it for like 15 minutes and go, "Yeah, it's just quick time events," and that's really it.
Yeah, that's literally all the gimmick is to it. It's just
it looks nice, but you've like interactive wise, it's barely Mega Man. It's hardly Hi-Fi Rush.
No. Well, you got anything else?
I think I'm spent.
Well, I suppose as to cap this episode off, since we've mostly been talking about Nintendo Direct, we've said like what games is like would we like to see, but what about the games that are actually coming out? Which ones have like interest you the most? Like we can just like quickly glance over one. So
let me just reopen Nintendo Direct and let's see what's coming.
Mine's. I've already basically said mine. So, but if I'm not saying that one, I'm interested in Golden Sun because I never played Golden Sun. I don't know.
Have you not?
I don't know what to expect with that.
Golden Sun's good. They probably seem a little bit basic now. So yeah. Golden Sun. I don't know. It does have some interesting mechanics, but it is like turn-based random encounters that you expect. But it does do a few interesting things. So unlike the sort of overworld, like the abilities you get in combat sort of also double up in the overworld, and there's a lot of puzzles that involve like pulling blocks, moving things around. I know it doesn't sound great, but how it's implemented is quite good. Like you sort of have to think outside the box a bit. Kind of, I suppose, a bit like a sort of top-down Zelda dungeon. It's like you can see the pieces. You just got to like work out how to move it around in like what order.
Yeah.
In a way. And it's also got a interesting system where, in order to use like high level magic and summons, you have to like find and unlock these creatures they call djinns, and there's like 4 different types, and they're all like bound to the elements. So you got like water, earth djinns, fire djinns, air djinns. And as you sort of like find them, you get like access to more powerful magic, but you can sort of mix and match them, and they are optional. I think you find a couple, but they're like kind of like the major rewards behind the games. It's like, oh, you've solved a difficult puzzle or a dungeon. It's like, hey, you get a djinn out of it. But depending how you sort of like equip them on each of your characters, kind of depends on what sort of magic you can use. So like water magic's basically like cure, status effects kind of thing. But say like if you want pure fire magic, just like use a fire djinn and then just like equip like 4 fire djinns, so like the best fire magic. But if you use something like a fire gym and a water gym, you can do something like a steam sort of magic. So you sort of mix and match. And as you use them in combat, they become like unavailable. So it's kind of like I could use all 4 gyms now and do like a powerful fire summon, or I can opt to do this one instead and use another lower level magic as a sort of a kind of like a consumable items, I suppose, but just for that fight, and then I sort of reset for like the next fight, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Okay.
I say it's been a very long while, but they are good games, and they're kind of split in 2, but only because they were meant to be one game on the GBA, but it was just too much on there, so they sort of split the release into 2 titles. At least for the first 2, anyway. I know there's one on the DS, but I haven't played that one. I've only played the original 2, but they were a good time. I've played the first one a couple of times back in the day because I did enjoy it. So yeah, if you like old school RPGs, then yeah, I do highly recommend Robinson. Yeah, I forgot about that. I might check them out again one day if they get a bit of a spruce up.
Then what about you two then?
I mean, I look through like the Nintendo catalog, and I don't find like a lot of games which I feel very sort of invested in as I look through the list, unfortunately. So yeah, there's nothing I can see. I mean, like if some of these games like came on like a good offer, then I might pick them up just to sort of get involved with the franchise. So let me just see what's on this one. So Fantasy Life could look interesting if that goes on to offer. I mean, it looks cutesy and everything, but I don't see it. Like it just seems like the next kind of Animal Crossing. I've never played Pikmin, so I've got no idea what's going on there.
Sorry.
Like you say about Pikmin.
Oh no, I've played Pikmin 1 and 2, and they're both great. I need to play Pikmin 3, so if I play Pikmin 3, I'll probably play Pikmin 4.
I was never a big fan of the Pikmin games. I got the first one when it came out, and really wasn't impressed with it. I just don't think it's for me. I think it's the game's fault. It just wasn't for me.
I mean, I've never played Advanced Wars, so that could be summer.
Also, I got that on pre-order, so that will be coming in April.
What's Raincode? Let's just have a quick look at the trailer for that.
Sea of Stars looks interesting. That looks like a sort of Octopath Traveler sort of deal.
Yeah.
Another sort of retro-inspired RPG, which I'm a sucker for. So I'm looking forward to that.
Baten Kaidos 1 and 2 remaster. So again, it's just like random series like this, which just I missed out on. But you know, because it's like a series which I don't really have much confidence in because I've never really heard of it, I wouldn't be willing to pay like 30, 40 pounds for it, like not until it goes down to like, I don't know, maybe between 10, 15.
Because sorry, I'll go first. Obviously they announced Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC, and I know none of us have played Xenoblades at all, but where I found that Metroid meme, that group, they were talking about the Xenoblade 3 Chronicles DLC, because at the end of the trailer for it, it has the main character from 2, and what's interesting is the main character from 2, he was originally going to be in the latest Smash Bros, and then they cut him, and then they put the 2 main female characters from the second game in Smash Ultimate as DLC characters instead of him, and then at the end of the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC trailer in the direct, it has the main character from the second one, but he's obviously been he's grown up now and he looks proper beefy, and I just saw like a meme where it's like, watch what you say to people who eat their vegetables. It's just him now grown up. It was just quite it made me laugh.
What I'm intrigued by, and I did play very briefly, Ghost Trick that's coming out.
Yeah.
Sort of remastered. So that's a game where it says like Phantom Detective in the title, because that's kind of what you are. It's like you're dead and you're essentially a ghost, and it's essentially a puzzle game where like a narrative happens. There is a storyline, and basically the levels or stages, whatever you want to call them, sort of involve like you stopping a crime from happening. But you can't interfere directly. You can like sort of possess objects in the sort of, and you got to sort of work out what kind of order to do it in and where to move to in order to like set up a chain domino effect to stop the crime from happening. You know, like move a crane to sort of knock a wall down or block a door using boxes, like using a forklift truck. That kind of gimmick. I think that came out and like nobody played it. but it was a decent game. So to see that getting remastered just out of nowhere is interesting. Because I think it was just one of those games because like the whole gimmick with it being on the DS is all touchscreen and that like put people off. But if you can just control it using a normal analog stick now, I don't see any reason not to. Why I wouldn't do that. Yeah, that could be interesting.
A artist I follow on social media, she has done a print from Ghost Trick. So when they announced the like remastered, she was like proper spamming her artwork of it on social media. It looks really good. I'll put it in the chat in a sec. But yeah, it was quite. I don't know when she did it, but she did it ages ago, and it was just like, hey, look! I did this artwork. Oh, I love this game. I'm so glad it's getting. Hopefully, more people will play it. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
I'm spent.
Yeah, I think we're about there. So yeah, Nintendo Directs, which normally are kind of brush off, but it was a bit more interesting this year, especially now I've got the Switch Online. Although one thing which I've just thought of, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, very quickly, from looking at the trailers, it looks like it's got sort of like makeshift vehicles in it that you can build, and I'm kind of concerned about that because it gives me vibes of like Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, and nothing should remind me of that. I'm looking at it thinking, oh no, please don't do that. Can I just have Zelda? I don't want that. I don't want forced crafting of vehicles in it. Please no. We'll see. Hopefully they'll play
bolts, so am I sort of glad that I've missed something out here?
It's not received very well, put it that way. It's like people are like, oh, we want Banjo-Kazooie 3 because 1 and 2 are great, like games that play like Mario 64, and then you suddenly get like, oh yeah, we're building cars now. It's like, I don't want to build cars. It's like, I want to play Banjo-Kazooie. It's like, tough, you have cars. You will learn to love cars that you make yourself, and will make it needlessly complicated and annoying. Also, the controls aren't very good. But I've just seen the trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. It's like, I don't like how this looks. I'm concerned. I'm sure they know what they're doing and it'll be fine, but it put a little lump in my throat. I was like, oh no.
That's a shame.
Oh, I found that artwork.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. So yeah, it's mostly Nintendo focus again. But yeah, if you can, go and play Hi-Fi Rush. Highly recommend it, especially if you're into your music. I think any music fan can get a kick out of it, especially if you like games, as I say, like Devil May Cry, God of War. Easy recommendation from me. Easy.
Yep. And I've got a few games coming, so hopefully next episode I'll be talking about Octopath Traveler 2 and my experience with Metro Prime Remastered, and maybe I finished Fire Emblem Engage. We all see.
Yeah, and hopefully from me, Atomic Hearts and Ant-Man, 2 things beginning with A.
Yeah,
and I'll probably be playing Wo Long.
Yeah. When's that out?
It comes out on the 3rd of March, so literally
same day as Metro Prime Remastered Physical Edition.
Well, I guess I'll be playing that as well then.
Yeah, I literally get Octopath and Metroid both next week, Monday and then Friday.
Oh, I've got so many games to get through.
And I'm busy Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings. Wait, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I was like, what am I doing Thursday? And I was like, oh yeah, D&D. That's what I'm doing. Because also we're going cinema on Wednesday.
Literally the day before I get my Wo Long. So next episode's going to be juicy.
Well, as always, what were you saying?
I was about to say, thank you all for listening to us ramble about how I can't read pies and Nintendo Direct. It happened.
Can't read pies. What a phrase. Put that on your CV. See if anyone blinks. Reads it properly. Don't draw any attention to it. Just leave it as like one random sentence.
Is it a typo? No, it's there for a reason.
Yeah, skills and traits. It's like, oh, I'm a good lab technician. I can't read pies. I can't.
As always, you can follow us on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow it. You can listen to us on every podcast platform you can probably think of, even other ones that I didn't even know you could listen to us on there, like Audible, Spotify, whatever, Anchor, wherever you're listening to the podcast, you listen to your podcasts, we're on there.
And I know I've said this a couple of times, but we promise we will upload something to the YouTube channel. In the meantime, though, Spanky Rambles are on YouTube. I'm uploading stuff daily. And same on TikTok as well. I'm uploading like a couple of videos a day. If you like little comedic shorts, I use the word comedic in inverted commas because it's me on about. But hey, it's there.
I need to get in the habit of doing that.
Shorts, mate. I tell you, that's where it's at.
Yeah. Well, as always, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're wherever you are listening to us. So thank you, and you'll hear us again in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm off to play Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes. Bye. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.